So, very simply put, the idea of sixth parts is that you should actually be playing from a root position. This is good for both third and sixth parts from grade 7 and 8, where you have to play your scales a third apart and then a sixth apart. Now, they all should be built from a foundation of an octave apart and using the same pathways, the neural pathways that you developed at the previous grades, rather than putting things in a new position and then having to learn new neural pathways, like for C major, suggesting that someone starts with pinky. This is a whole new system, which it can work, but then for a more tricky scale like A major, it just doesn't work. Or for F sharp major, when you should be starting on the A sharp, you don't really want to change that position to anything other than what you would normally play on the A sharp when you play from the root position. So you must re-establish the root position scales and for the arpeggios as well, and then use the same fingers you would have been using for root position in the new positions. For example, for C minor, you would normally be starting with the pinky and the thumb on C, leading the middle fingers to land on the E flats. If you then start a third apart, the middle finger should go on the E flat. And if you start a sixth apart with the right hand on the tonic and the left hand on the mediant, the left hand should start on the 3. And then all of the other fingers should be landing in the same position. That way your brain has less to calculate. You'll find it tricky if your finger system is poor. If you're already playing scales with a very randomized fingering system, when you then shift something out of position, your brain's got far too much calculations to go through. So my advice is, if you're going to be working on third and sixth parts, re-establish the root position, especially for arpeggios like E flat minor. Play this a few times, and then you can air play the first two notes, and then continue. That should help with start and end positions. That should definitely help with the fingering and of course with the fluency. One last thing to add with the fluency, particularly with arpeggios, where the cross is a lot bigger, what tends to happen at the higher grades is the cross becomes less of a wrist motion and more of a moving motion. So arpeggios tend to go, no, I'm trying to do it wrong, hold on. Jumping instead of twisting the wrist or the arm to extend the thumb over, so this creates the more legato, and then when the speed goes faster it gets worse, it stands out more, and then you want to start putting the pedal on, this downhill spiral. So develop the right technique at a slow pace with the wrist keeping the note down. Legato actually means that the notes overlap very, very, very quickly. See that? It shouldn't be, and it definitely shouldn't be, and then letting go and moving. You should hold and you let go as you play the next note, or fractionally after, to keep the bridge between the notes. So, quick recap. Re-establish the root positions for your third and sixth scales and arpeggios, and then use the same finger systems that you had in place for those root positions. If your finger systems at root positions is weak, or if it fluctuates, that's going to affect your ability to go fast for muscle memory, and then it will definitely affect your ability to then convert that neural pathway into a similar one, be it a third apart or a sixth apart. But please do not change the finger system. That's just going to create far too much. It's going to create a whole new process that you have to calculate, a whole new process to learn. So if you use the same one from the previous grades, it literally just clicks in a second. Yeah, makes sense? So